Here we go. Okay, so today we've got Paul, one of our therapists at Competitive Edge, and he's going to talk with us about foam rolling. He's got some recommendations about how to foam roll and why to foam roll, why it's important, and a specific roller that he recommends as well, which might be a bit of different recommendations than some other therapists. So we wanted to shed some light on that and have him educate us all. So Paul, why don't you introduce yourself and take it over?
All right, my name is Paul. I'm one of the massage therapists at Competitive Edge Sport Therapy. And I've been using foam rolling for a whole bunch of years now. And it's kind of my primary tool for self-care. This is what I do to take care of my body so that I can do the things that I want to do. I'm really passionate about exercise and strength training and active lifestyle. And so with that, I've had my share of a whole bunch of aches and pains and, repetitive overuse injuries and, strains and stuff and pushing myself in the gym. And one of the things I love about rolling is that, if I have a spot that's painful or aggravating in some way, I can't always get immediate treatment as soon as I feel something. Usually I need to get an appointment, and it might be a few days or a week or more before I can get in. But rolling is something that's easily accessible, that just about anybody can do. You can do it as much as you want to. You can use it to target any area that's hurting, and there's a lot of ways that you can adapt it. And so it's very convenient and very effective too. And so yeah, it's just something that I use as part of my arsenal pretty much on a daily basis.
Amazing. Yeah, it sounds very versatile. So can you talk about what foam rolling actually does and why it's important?
Yeah, so foam rolling is basically self-massage. And so it would have a lot of the similar benefits to massage, right? In terms of like loosening up tight tissues, improving circulation, trying to encourage healing. And a lot of the times I think that a limiting factor with trying to overcome an injury is just getting enough treatment, right? Because in a practical sense, most people can only get treatment, anywhere from like maybe a couple times a week to like once a week, once a month, something like that. And so foam rolling is a really great way that you can do self-massage daily or several times daily, and it becomes way more accessible and sometimes can just put you over that threshold of what's necessary to actually make an injury, make forward progress, right? If you're, let's say if you're training for a run or something like that, you might be encountering a lot of daily stresses of, running again and again. And so you got to have enough kind of reparative tools in your arsenal so that you're healing things more than you're hurting them.
Mm-hmm. It's so empowering too, to be able to feel whatever's going on in your body, target it, and then do something about it instead of just going, well, oh no, I guess I have to book an appointment.
Yeah, or I have pain, and so I just have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to actually be able to help yourself, to have a tool that you can use on your own. Yeah, that's definitely empowering. Can you talk about how to roll? Because I feel like there's a lot of different ways to do it. Is variety okay, or do you have a specific recommendation?
I would say if you want specific results, you definitely need to have like a specific plan for how to achieve those results. And so I never tell people just roll the spot that hurts. I always have a system, right? Because it would be like anything else. Like, let's say if you wanted to get strong, you wouldn't say go to the gym and work out. It doesn't mean a whole lot. So I always give specific recommendations. And I think that when I've seen people rolling, typically it's at the gym, but I see a lot of like very vague kind of exercises with no method to it. So what I see a lot of in the gym is like long sweepy rolls. People will do their IT bands, their quads, their hamstrings and stuff like that. And I think that there's a better way that it can be done. So the kind of rolling that I use is segmental. So rather than doing long sweepy rolls over a muscle, I break it up into shorter segments, and I do a specific number of rolls and then move to the next segment and a specific number of rolls. And so there's actually a plan, right? It's not just random. So I like segmental rolling. And then I would also say that like the body position is really important so that you can get enough pressure.
Yeah.
Because if you're just not in a position to be comfortable or to get enough pressure to have a therapeutic benefit, then the exercise isn't really going to do a whole lot of good. And then the roller is very important too.
Okay. That brings me to two questions I have. The first is, what about just holding on a spot that's sore, as if you were recreating like a trigger point for yourself? Is that something you ever recommend?
That's something I think a person could do. You know, sometimes if you do find a tender point, it just feels good to just sit on it and let it melt and kind of use it like a trigger point release. So it's something that I use sometimes, but usually I like to get motion going with it. And for the most part, I'll generally recommend segmental rolls to cover the whole span of a muscle. And then sometimes a little bit more emphasis at certain tender points, whether it's like a trigger point or tight spot in a muscle, or if it's maybe at an attachment point, then we might emphasize a certain area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my second question is, what's your tolerance for pain that rolling is causing? Because sometimes, like you said, maybe you don't have enough pressure on it and you don't feel it at all. But then other times, if you have a lot of body weight on the roller, it can be excruciating. So what's sort of your recommendation there?
My general recommendation is always to do it to your tolerance. And what I aim for personally is that when I roll, I usually want to feel a little bit of tenderness, right? Like, let's say if it was like going on like a perceived intensity, I don't want to be at like a 9 out of 10 where I'm nearly in tears or where I'm all tensed up. But if it's like a good 5 out of 10 kind of intensity where I feel it, but it's not, you know, excessively painful. I have had times where I've hurt something and it can be really tender, and I've felt that it can be helpful to work through it sometimes, but you definitely want to use good judgment to not go too aggressive and flare things up more. So the simple answer, I guess, is to tolerance.
Okay. Personally, what I've recommended to people is if they feel like they're like making a pain face, scrunching up their face, making a fist, holding their breath, that's probably an indicator that your body can't relax through it. And that's probably an indicator it's a bit too much. Is that about the same as what you would recommend?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. So when you see those people at the gym that are like, ah, you're probably going a bit too hard.
I've probably been that guy a few times though too, so.
Fair. Sometimes it feels good to like be making progress, and you forget that you have to listen to your body as well.
Yeah, and some things will just kind of hurt no matter what in certain circumstances.
Yeah, but always breathe. Oxygen is never bad. And then why don't you talk about the specific roller that you like and why you like it, what's different about it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I actually brought it with me. So
Great.
what I've got here, I don't know if it'll show very well here, but I've got something called the travel roller. And the travel roller is a little bit smaller in diameter, and it's a shorter length. And it's got some really good advantages to it. I like that inside of it, it has like a hard type for the inner core. So it means that over time, it's not going to deform and it's not going to be too compressible. Whereas like a larger roller, like the typical foam ones that you see in the gym, over time, a lot of these will start to kind of wear down and get sort of lumpy and distorted, and also they compress quite a bit and they're pretty soft. So a simple way of thinking about it is that you can usually adjust your body position to make the pressure harder or lighter, but you can't adjust the roller. So I like the firmness of the travel roller. It's also really grippy, so if you need to do something where you roll against the wall, it's not going to slide all over the place. And then they last a really long time. So like I find that they, you know, I can get a good 5 to 10 years out of them, and they hold up really well. So the quality is really good. And then it's also really convenient because like something little like this, I can throw it in a gym bag or a suitcase or the back of my car or whatever. So it's really portable. If you wanted to travel with it, you could stuff, you know, your socks inside of it or whatever. So like it's not excessively bulky. So yeah, so really it's got a lot of advantages. And then the size is also really appropriate to fit a lot of body parts, you know, so it fits well into the glutes or the traps or the armpit or whatever. So the size is really kind of ideal as well.
Yeah. So you're using one tool instead of many.
Yeah. So the travel roller is the main one that I use, but sometimes I find that just a regular softball can be excellent as well, especially if you found that you don't really feel the pressure from the roller anymore. So a lot of things I've had to kind of upgrade and go to like a little bit smaller, firmer roller to get the desired benefit. And then for certain areas, like if I want to roll my hands or my feet, I might use like a small ball, like a golf ball or something like that, to hit some little muscles. And that's where a big roller would not be appropriate for that at all. So you just want to make sure you use the right tool for the job. And the travel roller,
harder to reach areas.
The travel roller probably fits the most jobs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where would you recommend that someone starts? Like if they want to start rolling, they're having some aches and pains, what body parts should they gravitate towards? Yeah, how does one person start?
I would say that it depends a lot on what their complaint is, for sure, right? But there are certain areas that I think give you a lot of bang for your buck. Okay. You know, like there's certain exercises I tend to show a lot of people, you know, like there's a rotator cuff roll that I teach a lot for the supraspinatus, because that's the most commonly injured rotator cuff muscle. And I think we've got a YouTube video.
Yeah, what I can do is I can link it right here and put it up in the video, so it's there, people can watch it.
Yeah, and then for people with like hip pain, I know I show a lot of glutes and piriformis. Low back is great for a lot of people. The upper traps and levator scapula for people with like pain in the upper back or neck and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what's really great is if the person has the ability to, you know, get an assessment and kind of figure out how their body's working, then you can find a way to work the rolling and to complement the treatment approach really well. So I would say for sure to check out like the Pain-Free Club class that we did with rolling, and then any of our social media content. That'll be some good ideas if you want to get started on your own. But if you want more tailored guidance, then usually I'll give a person a few rolling recommendations to complement their treatments.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing is don't necessarily gravitate just to only the spot that's giving you pain. Try to have a more open mind, seek out some professional assistance, or at least some professional resources that can lead you to those areas that you said give a lot of bang for your buck. Does that sound about right? Yeah,
I would say that rolling the painful spot is part of the plan, but there's almost always something else to it.
Yeah.
So,
at least that can maybe give you some temporary relief or some, relieve that tightness or that pain. But if you want it to stay away, there's probably more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about foam rolling or your specific recommendations or anything like that?
Well, there's kind of three critical things. There's the right rolling tool, the right body position, and the right technique. Okay. And so I guess I should probably just break down the technique. So if someone wanted to like give rolling a try, rather than just randomly just doing whatever, there's sort of a system or like a golden rule of rolling that I apply to most scenarios. And that's something called the 5-10-2-2 rule. Okay. So for any muscle, you can usually break it up into about 5 sections. And then you do 10 rolls on each of those sections. And you go through the whole muscle 2 times through. Okay. And then anytime you're trying to fix a problem, you want to roll it at least twice a day. Okay. Once a day is great for maintenance, but twice a day is usually kind of a minimum threshold whenever you're trying to fix a problem. Right? Yeah. So giving some parameters like that would almost be like if you wanted to go to the gym and you said, okay, you're going to do 3 sets of 10 squats or something like that. It gives you a structure that you can work with so that you're not just guessing about how much is the right amount. So 5-10-2-2 rule is the main technique that I use a lot of the time.
So that was 5 spots, 10 rolls each spot, twice through the muscle, twice a day.
Exactly.
Got it. Anything else to add?
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anyone does want a little bit more guidance and they have no idea where to start with their pain or their injury, and they want some ideas of where to roll, definitely reach out to us and you can speak with Paul himself and get his guidance specific to you and your pain. So to do that, I'll just link underneath our website, our webpage to speak with a therapist. You just fill in your info and request to speak with Paul. And then we'll schedule a time for him to give you a call and give you some guidance. So if anyone's in pain, not knowing where to start and wants to start rolling, fill in that and then we'll help set you on the right path. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you so much, Paul.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.